It's Drybear, and we need to talk about the mysterious Dr. Disrespect situation. Now, normally I don't cover drama when it relates to individuals, just because I personally don't find it all that interesting, and also because it comes down to a lot of he said, she said. But in this case, this story is a little more interesting because it involves the mysterious banning of Dr. Disrespect, one of the most premier streamers to come out in the last 10 years. He rose from small numbers to extreme fame, and then suddenly, and without any global or public explanation, was removed from the streaming platform Twitch about 4 years ago. And so since then, no one has officially gotten a reason as to why that has actually happened, though there's been lots of speculation, some whisperings from people that may know him. And you would think that if something like that was not only severe enough to remove him from the platform permanently, especially when he was bringing in so much revenue for Twitch and Amazon, but also to keep it hush-hush like that, a lot of people were speculating as to what the severity of the crime or mistake or misgiving was that he had done. And we weren't really getting any answers from anyone for a very long time until yesterday, or basically this week and over the weekend. We got some new happenings on top of, Dr. Disrespect that may shed some light into that situation. Now, all this came back into the limelight because on June 21st, which is the release of Elden Ring DLC, a ex-Twitch employee who doesn't work there anymore mentioned on social media that he got banned because he got caught sexting a minor in the then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was then trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon, and the powers that could read in plain text. Case closed, gang. So he was trying to groom and meet up with an underage girl for presumably, relations. And because of that, and especially because it took place on the Twitch platform, he's suggesting and positing that this actually is why Dr. Disrespect was banned. So all of that controversy and all of that questioning came back into the limelight and has been causing a stir in the general community, which would certainly make sense as to why he got removed, but it doesn't really explain officially why it's been so hush-hush. Now, there could have been an official court case prior to the lawsuit that Dr. Disrespect brought to Twitch, because he did bring them a lawsuit and he did win as far as we know, and he did get paid. I mean, obviously there could have been a settlement of some kind, and winning is a little bit more gray, but he was paid by Twitch for some reason, some kind of restitution or something like that. And because of that, that all has been hush-hushed. It's possible that whatever happened in that case was sealed court documents, or there was some kind of NDA around it, which might kind of suggests it likely wasn't criminal, because then it would have been a little bit more complicated, but it could have just been, some kind of non-disclosure or some kind of sealed court document that kept it closed. And it's possible that if he was in the realm of possibly becoming a, sex offender or something like that, registered on an official list, because he's a public person, having his address out there could pose a risk, and his lawyer could argue that there might be something, risky about him being available to anyone at any time for any reason, especially for him and his immediate family. But he responded to this post a day later saying, listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say what I can say since this is the internet. So he's saying, I can't say anything, but I will say something because I don't want people to wonder about it. He says, I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled. Nothing illegal, no wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. So things kind of get back to where they were. Someone said that he did something wrong. He says that he didn't do something wrong. Again, we're down to the individual drama part of this coming out. However, things get weirder from here and kind of bizarre. First of all, if you didn't know, Dr. Disrespect had co-founded a game development studio, and they had been working on a game for the better part of the last year or two, maybe even longer in secret, but they've been working on a game that they want to release together, and he's been a big part of giving feedback on that game, helping support it, and the studio that is involved with working on it has been hiring, and I think they're up to over 50 employees and developers now, and so they've been working on this game with I would imagine is a lot of funding from Dr. Disrespect, who is very well-to-do. And after the allegations on Friday, they, which is the development studio that is co-owned by Dr. Disrespect, became aware of an allegation against one of our co-founders, Guy Beam, aka Dr. Disrespect. We assumed his innocence, and began speaking with parties involved. Now, we don't really know what this means. It could be that they spoke with either friends and family or the actual minor that was involved of this case, or anyone else involved in the case. A lot of this is becoming very murky, but in order to maintain our principles and standards as a studio and individuals, we needed to act. For this reason, we are terminating our relationship with Guy Beam immediately. So as of like last night, basically, the development studio that's working with Dr. Disrespect has dropped him from that studio, which would suggest that he either has been completely removed. He likely has, if they say terminating our relationship, we don't know exactly what that means. Does he still have ownership? Does he still have shares or stock? Does he have some kind of investment or vested interest in the company? Is he being moved from a co-founder to more like an angel investor or something like that? We don't really know the actual exact specifics on this, but it seems like from this perspective that they are stopping any public relations with Dr. Disrespect after these allegations, which kind of adds a lot more credence to the situation, right? Twitch had this issue with Dr. Disrespect back in 2020, a couple years ago, and since then he has been moved to another platform and has been hitting all kinds of drama issues. Still doing quite well, by the way. If you go look at his stream and all of his content and all of that, he's still doing quite well. But on top of that, he is struggling a good bit, and when this comes back into the limelight, he is immediately dropped by a studio that he was personally invested in. Now, he was live at the time that this was posted, and you can kind of see the moment that he finds out that it's happening or was able to see it, that it was online. Now, at least in my perspective, if he was a true co-founder and he had a large vested interest in the company, or at least ownership of the company, it wouldn't be as easy as them saying, hey, we saw some allegations on Twitter, we've dropped you from the studio, you're out. It would be a lot harder to do than that, especially if he has any kind of majority or even any kind of stake at all. They can't just remove him from that. So it's very likely that either A, he was on board with the process of being terminated with that agreement, or was moved to another more private agreement, or they actually had very good evidence to do so, right? If they spoke to the parties involved, got those sealed court records available, and found out something very substantial, they could have used that as leverage to force him to step down from that perspective. So the fact that they dropped him and so quickly, and mentioned that they spoke to the people, makes this an even more bizarre situation. I'll play a little bit of a clip here from his stream when he did recognize that something had come up, and I'll leave a link down below if you want to go watch the stream in which he was live while this was happening as well.
How we feeling, Doc? Says Roy. I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little fatigued. Feeling a little fatigued. We came in here, champs. We came in here. High energy. High energy. But I'm telling you, man, I'm just feeling fatigued. Right? Feeling a little burnt out. Yeah, but I appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate you guys showing up. But I am serious when I say I'm feeling a little fatigued. You know? When shit like this happens over the weekend, and it just kind of... It's like, how many times can I... I don't... Like, I'm actually tired of being on social media, and I've expressed that over the years, champ. So I just, I've always kind of hinted like it'd be nice to get off and just completely separate, right? Go live in Costa Rica or something. I don't know. But I'm just feeling burnt out, I think, I came into this with... When did we start streaming, champs? 2015? 16? Been doing this since 2009. Different scene back then. Having a good time. Playing the games that were fun to interact with and create content with, and over the years it's just gotten, I don't know, like the it's been drained out of me. It's being drained out of me. It's being drained out of my family and I. And I just feel like, I had the mindset of let's just see what happens today. How are we feeling? And I'll tell you, I just, I don't know. I'm just feeling burnt out. Maybe it's time to start something new, something different. Challenge those creative senses, a desire to explore different realms, if you will. But I think the first and foremost, though, is I did have a sort of a planned vacation coming up. And I think I might just extend that starting today, starting now. One of these, let's take a step back. I mean, it is what it is. People get fatigued, right, champs? And to be honest, I don't know how long, I know where my vacación, how long my vacation is, but, maybe I extend that. We'll see.
Which to me is very relatable. I think that there's definitely going to be a situation where, especially if you're in the public spotlight, if a lot of that public spotlight is negative in many ways or is kind of personally attacking for you and your family, it's definitely understandable to get exhausted or burnt out from that and want to step away. The thing that strikes me as odd here is the timing of it. I think, especially for someone who has been in the public eye for quite a while, he has to understand what the optics of this look like. Allegations come up. A day later, his studio has cut ties with him, and then a day after that, he's immediately saying he wants to step away and disappear for a while. All of that happening just after those allegations getting a little bit of substance from what we would not really heard of in the last few years. And I personally I think that we're probably due to have some kind of explanation for this. Maybe we will in the future, maybe we won't, but I think the timing, the situation, and all of these things moving as aggressively and as quickly as they have been adds a lot of validity to what's being suggested here. And at least in my personal opinion, it seems like there's a lot more that's more severe than's happening. Because again, if he has ownership of that studio, removing him in the matter of 24 hours is not going to be so simple unless you have like a good amount of proof that something very serious would happen, which would explain why he was removed from Twitch and why it's been so hush-hush ever since. Or he's been very much on board with it, which kind of doubles back to the same reasoning of if he's on board with severing ties with all of these companies and all these situations, then why is he doing that if he's not either running scared or has a very good reason to do so? So I leave the question to you, and I ask you to be respectful in the comments. Obviously, there is, I believe very heavily in innocent until proven guilty, but there's a lot pointing against him in this situation and a bit against the circumstances of what actually happened. So if all this is true, I hope that justice is served, and if not, I hope that truth is delivered. But right now, there's still a lot of questions up in the air. Let me know what you think down below. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.